Yo, what's up, everybody? It is the Jason of all trades. What is going on every Saturday? Yes, it is Murals in the Market Live. I am your host, the Jason of all trades, trying out my new COVID contraption because I kept getting all these emails from people saying that I looked like I wasn't having a good time because they couldn't see me smile. So hopefully this will remedy some of that situation. Hopefully we'll see. I put some anti-fogger on here, but these are the lengths that we have to go to these days to stay safe. But I like this little thing, man. It's kind of cool. What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in again. Murals in the Market Live. We go live every week from Optimal Detroit Hustles Harder over on Division Street. Stop by. I'm in the window. It's like the Today Show. You could stop by, wave. You could actually come in. Don't really talk to me, though, because I'm going live. But you could, like, walk in, say what's up, buy some gear, say what's up, support the fam. I'm excited to be here, man. Every Saturday I wake up and it's like I get a little bit of nervousness in my stomach because doing this thing isn't like it's not what I planned on doing in life, but it is what I do. On top of this, I also do tours for Murals in the Market. I am the official tour guide of Murals in the Market, so that's kind of giving me a little more help into this. But you can do tours of Murals in the Market. We do walking tours of that. So hit me up if you would like to on our new revamped website, ridedetroit.com. We can get you scheduled. We can even do those now. I mean, it's a little cold today, but I'd even do it today. But I mean, a nice 30 and above. The teens might be a little dramatic for me, but yeah, regardless, we do tours. So give us a shout out. Shout out to One Times Run and Murals in the Market. If you'd like to support any of the artists that we talk to or anyone that we talk to, you can definitely find information on how to do that at onetimesrun.com or muralsinthemarket.com. Before I move on, I always like to do a little bit of house cleaning. I'd just like to say thanks to James Bulla for last week, man, coming in from Germany. Dude and I, it's crazy because like every now and then you connect with people and you're like, man, that's like my brother from another mother. And that's what James felt like, man. We both connected on being dads and all kinds of fun. So if you want to check that out, you can always go to Murals in the Market's Instagram. We keep everything archived there. If not, we also have it on the Ride Detroit YouTube page, YouTube channel, so you can go there and subscribe. All of my past Murals in the Market interviews are posted there, so you can definitely go there and check it out. And so now this week, we tried a little bit different. Every week it's usually been an artist, and I'm not saying that she's not an artist, but it's usually been an artist that has a mural up. But this time, we wanted to give you some insight into what makes this thing happen. Murals in the Market is a big, huge moving machine, which has a large team. And so one of the main cogs in that team, and I say that, and I'm going to get right into it because this is going to be such a good interview. Leah Rutt has been there since day one. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her in right now because it turned into one of those things as usual. We just started vibing and we knew we could just go. So Leah, are you there? We're waiting for Leah. Oh, that's weird. Okay, I got unable to join. Oops, let me see if I can get her this way. Technology will not stop me. We've learned that technology does not. Yeah, man, what's happening?
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm excellent. How are you?
I'm good. Sorry, I have this weird looking contraption on my head, but these
No
days.
worries.
And you're safe at home in your studio, and I am out here trying to deal with this cold and the public. So hopefully this doesn't distract you at all.
Not at all.
What's going on? How are you?
Just hanging out on a Saturday morning.
I have to tell you, I don't know if I ever tell you, I love your smile. Every time I see you and had seen you over the years at Murals in the Market, you were one of those things that never were down. Like I always see you smiling, and so your smile is amazing. So let's get that out of the way, man. Thank you for that, for brightening my day, because even more.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So, the story of this, yeah, we want to start it at Murals in the Market, but I have to go back a little bit further because this is my own interest. You lived in New Zealand for a little while.
I did. Yeah, I studied abroad there.
Okay, so was this part of the journey which led you to where you are? Was this just life trying to figure it out?
Just life trying to figure it out. Truthfully, I'm a huge Lord of the Rings nerd. or I was when I was a kid, and I really connected with the indigenous culture, and so
Yeah.
I thought, a combination of just beautiful landscape, beautiful culture. I wasn't really sure when else I would be able to get over there, and so yeah, so that's where I chose.
Wow. How long were you in New Zealand?
I think 5.5 months.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So it probably wasn't that much of a culture shock because by the time you dealt with you were coming home.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. Mostly it was
Okay.
just like the time difference. It took some a little while to adjust.
Right. Right. I mean, you're the first person I've ever met that was from that even went to New Zealand. People
Oh,
talk about
nice.
going to New Zealand all the time, and so I'm like, this is wild. When I was reading your bio, I'm like, that must have took a lot of courage. I mean, did you have any prior time spent in New Zealand before you went there, or you just packed up and went?
I just packed up and went. I mean, it takes a long time and kind of a lot of money to get there. So,
Yeah.
once you're there, I recommend spending some time. But it's a gorgeous country, and it's really amazing to see
Uh,
how you can
we,
be in the tropical rainforest, and then a couple hours later be in like a fjord land with glaciers. So
yeah.
it's incredible. Yeah.
Did you have any exposure to the art scene there? Because when I talked to Askew One, he's from New Zealand. So were you there? Were you exposed to any of that at that time?
Yeah, definitely. In Auckland, I went to some different art spaces, and I actually took a basket weaving class while I was there. So a little bit more on just sort of the like craft and indigenous arts. So
Okay, okay. So
yeah,
that was okay. We fulfilled my own personal knowledge. Thank you for that. I mean, I'm sure there'll be some other questions that come up because I'm just a big nerd. But now, okay, so there's a gap clearly between New Zealand and murals in the market. So let's talk about when you came home from New Zealand. Where did you pick up from there?
so I was going to art school at the time. I went to Western, and it was my last year of school, and I realized that I did not want to be a studio artist. And through some projects that I did in school and also outside of the university, I found that my skill set really lends itself well to working sort of behind the scenes in the art world. So I curated a bunch of exhibitions and different projects, things like that. So when I moved to Detroit, I had sort of the gallery world in my line of sight. Um, and it kind of just took me in a direction, and here we are today. But no, I co-ran a small gallery and project space in Southwest Detroit called Junction Hall, and that was a really amazing opportunity because I got to sort of flex a lot of the muscles that I was trying to gain. And then through that project is how I got connected with Rula and eventually Murals in the Market.
Okay, okay. So you're stealing my thunder. That's one of my questions is how did you end up? But you didn't directly, I mean, you said Eastern Market After Dark. We talked about that, which was, an amazing festival within itself. Um,
Yes.
and for those that don't know, that's really, I mean, it was a Thursday night that it went down. Am I right? And
Yeah, you're
the
correct. Yeah.
market was packed
Yes.
from end to end with vendors,
Hmm.
Detroit artists. I mean, so you really at that time got an incredible taste of everything that was going on in the market.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I just remember the energy, and I remember seeing all the artists working and all of the production team running around. And I was like, I want that. I want to go there. And so, yeah, a job opened up at One X Run as Rula's executive assistant, actually. So I applied, and we really connected in the interview, and I got the job.
And I joked about it earlier. I saw that your title. I never knew your title. I've known you for years. I've seen you doing everything. I think you might be even served me a drink at a party before.
Yeah,
Like you
I
do
probably have.
everything. And so like I'm like, okay, so she's the operations manager, but you really, I mean, you've been there since you were there since the second year.
Hmm.
So you've really done a little bit of everything. You've had your feet
Yeah,
wet in everything.
yeah.
What is for those who don't know, what is an operations manager for a project like that? What does that sort of consist of?
It really consists of the overall flow of the festival. And so that's everything from the equipment to coordinating with the artists, getting their artwork, their travel plans. We hire a temporary team to run the festival. We call them wall managers. So interviewing and hiring and training them. We rent the headquarters in the Eastern Market for the festival, and so overseeing load in and load out of that, as well as the day to day. We also have an amazing group of volunteers that come. So sourcing, scheduling volunteers. I would say Rula does an amazing job with fundraising, and so she takes the lead on a lot of the fundraising efforts, and so I could sort of actualize the vision that she has.
So when you got hired as the executive assistant, did your job just sort of evolve into this, or did they say one day we're looking?
Yeah, I mean,
like,
it was.
You just became the operations manager.
I mean, kind of. No, I feel so blessed that Jesse and Rula and Dan all really trusted me and, challenged me to go further. And every time I came to them with an idea or an interest, they said, run with it. And so I was able over the next 4 years to really shape the job that I wanted. And so the first year actually that I worked the festival, I was the driver. So I would pick the artists up from the airport, take them to the hotel, and then every morning of the festival, I would pick up the artists, take them to where they needed to go in sort of different shifts, and then pick them up from whatever event was happening in the evening, and take them home.
So the driver. So how many artists are we talking about that you were potentially, driving for?
Like 25 maybe, because I think it's, it's about half and half local and traveling. But it was great. I loved it because I got to have some really intimate one-on-one time with the artists, which was something that kind of fell away as I took on more responsibility, which I loved, but I really did cherish those airport rides and, late night chats and things like that. So, yeah.
And I'm sure there were some challenges in coordinating, not only people's different time periods, but I mean, all kinds of stuff. But, you're thinking 25 artists, okay, I'm just driving them on a schedule. But I'm sure it's rapidly changing from minute to minute.
Definitely. Yeah. And I love planning. When I think about the festival, how things are going to happen, what the flow is, and then I can figure out who is needed for how long and where. And so I think and as much as you plan, you can never account for equipment malfunctioning, paint orders getting delayed, rain, heat. So it is this lesson in planning as much as you can and then being willing to just surrender to what the festival brings.
Yeah, and that's the magic of it, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Like, it is like that every year. And I can just I used to do hip hop promotion, and just picking up one hip hop artist used to make me want to rip my hair out. So I can't imagine, like, are they like rappers where they come with like a rider where they're like, you got to pick me up in this kind of car? You ever had that artist who's like, I need this when I'm here? Like, I'm just kidding. It doesn't have to be high maintenance, but I didn't even think about that. Are artists demanding ever?
I think mostly when it comes to like materials, it's a certain color, it's a certain kind, it's a certain brush. I mean, I think we do a pretty good job of picking people who aren't going to necessarily take all of the energy away from the rest of the team. But yeah, I would say everyone has their preferences, but nothing outrageous. Although one year, I think it was when Wheezy was a wall manager, we ran out of a certain color of paint, and none of the stores in like Metro Detroit had them. So she actually drove to Windsor to pick up this certain color of spray paint. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I could see that. I could see like paint being a specific thing and things like that.
Yeah.
But I've seen some riders where I've had to actually take people shopping. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so you got off fairly easy, like where they were like, they showed up with no luggage, and I'm like, where's your luggage? And they're like, we're going shopping. I'm like, oh, I'm paying for that. So yeah, none of that going down. So as the festival starts to evolve, so when you got in the second year, there wasn't a music festival, there was none of that, so how did that evolution go? You got to witness that. Was it just like a bunch of ideas that we were just like throw them against the wall, let's see if we can stick, or was it this gradual sort of planned evolution?
No, it was definitely gradually and planned.
Okay.
The festival wraps up in October, and by January, we're working on it again. So sending out invites, making sure, we start fundraising. Yeah, but I do think it is a blend of planned and sort of happens organically. Maybe an artist comes into our radar that's doing something really cool, and then we like Wolfbat did the parade or in
Yeah.
2019. So we were able to bring that into. We were just he had a dedicated evening where he took the parade around, but then we were also able to bring that in during the block party. So yeah, I guess maybe a blend of both, like lots of planning, but also we are open to letting things kind of happen.
What's the as I'm a fan of the artist, and I'm sure there are artists that come out that you're a fan of. And is there one time that you ever were like, wow, this is pretty surreal that I'm here and I never thought I'd be here?
Um, I mean, I'm a huge fan of 1010's work.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it was great to have him out. Same with Felipe Pantone.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, Sydney James, I love her work, so it was always great but I think just in 2019, having all of the local artists on that one massive building
Mhm.
was definitely a dream come true. Just having all of these amazing local creatives, these powerhouses, all in one location, it was just incredible to see and to have it all on display.
Yeah, yeah. Um, has there what's the like has there ever been a request that you were just like, wow, and then like made it happen? Like you really thought this might not happen, but did make it happen? What's the craziest thing?
Um,
Because everything is
crazy
crazy. You're like,
things.
it's
I
all
don't know.
crazy, right? Because like, I mean, there have been some major undertakings, like the Dabbles wall. Those are all
Yeah.
panels,
Oh my
you know,
gosh. Yes.
and
Yeah.
so
The
like,
Davos Wall, Amy Fisher Price's installation.
right?
I think
Yeah, how
just
did
like
that go down? How did that? She's like, I want to do this. How did that meeting go? I always talk about the meeting. Like, did she walk in and say, "Hey, I want to do something massive," or did she say, "I want that water tower"?
um I think for the water tower, she was like, I want that water tower. She also did the liquor store on the second
Yeah,
floor in the HQ that one year, and that
yeah.
she had the idea for. And so she had a team that came and took measurements and kind of built the structure. And then we had some volunteers that painted and helped her install and things like that. But I think every year, like, we're making temporary walls and we're transforming spaces. I mean, Sherio and Yak did that tattoo shack in the middle of
Hmm.
HQ, and I
Hmm.
got a tattoo. So I think every year we're always kind of pushing the limit of what we can do. But definitely a takeaway from just working the festival was finding a way to say yes to whatever crazy idea they might have. So, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm the type of person who's gonna push it. If I'm that guy who's like in there requesting my work, I'm gonna be
Hmm.
like, yo, I kind of want something crazy.
Yeah.
And so I've always wondered, has there been an artist who's like asked you for the impossible? But I feel like you have a pretty good connection in on how to make things happen.
Yeah. I mean, FA Best last year or 2 years ago asked for, I think, like sparkly gold paint and sparkly gold paint. So we had sparkles and gold paint and then like mixing them. But no, I think for the most part, we really try to plan as much as possible. Um, and so at least we can kind of see the curveballs coming when they do.
Yeah, yeah, and that's something you have to be able to see it all, and I'm sure that's why once again you're position evolved into what it evolved into. So you worked with murals until January, and
Yeah.
then decided it was time to do your own thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So I started my own company. I think I took a lot of what I learned working for One Time Run, working for Murals in the Market, working for Interstate Gallery, and started my own art management company. So I do one-on-one individual representation and also creative project management. So if you have a project that relates to the arts that you need managed, let me know. So yeah, I feel really blessed. I mean, I love working with artists. I love figure out a way to make their ideas a reality. And I think that a lot of what I enjoy doing are things that artists hate doing. So, I'm just like, let me do everything that keeps you from creating. And so in that way, I'm sort of a support system and container for that creativity.
Yeah, that's awesome. And like you said, there is a lot of stuff that goes into the art. A lot of people think that it's just a phone call and then all of a sudden we show up with art. But I mean, there is a lot of legality involved in all of this. Where do you even start if you were, wanting to put a mural up? I mean, other than call you, where will be our first steps if I said, hey, I'm looking for a mural? Because I do get that question a lot. People say, hey, can you have a mural artist call me? You know, where would they start with you in that conversation?
Or either, I guess. Well, I would say, first you need approval to paint the wall. So whether that's the building owner or the business owner, I think that's the most important part. I know that the city of Detroit, I'm not sure if they still require this, but with certain cities, you have to register the mural. So making sure that, either before, during, or after it's completed, that it's registered.
Sure.
And yeah, definitely contracts to protect the business owner, but also to protect the artist.
Mhm.
That's the beauty of public art is it can be enjoyed by a lot of different people, but still it's the artist's work. So
No, absolutely. And there's the business end of it that you definitely, that's the other part. A lot of artists don't want to deal with the business end of it, and there is a business end of these things. A lot of people once again think that this is just something that people do out of simply passion, and that's part of it. But there's a business into all of this.
definitely intellectual property, the difference between, intellectual property or like image licensing.
Hmm.
I know that the lawsuit with the Mercedes, using artist work in the background to sell product.
Hmm.
There's definitely a lot of nuances to what happens to art after it's created.
Yeah, that Mercedes story is, we don't need to go too into it, but that is crazy. But if
Yeah.
people want to look that up, that is the biggest um, show of intellectual property being abused.
Yeah.
So if you want to look that story up, go for it. We're not going to do that to bring this down, but once again, the business aspect of things is important. I talk to a lot of students. They always ask me, you know, is there a life in this? And I say, absolutely, there's money to be made.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so I think, you know, being able to allow you to make what you want and trust that the business side will be handled. I mean, a lot of people have to do both for a long time. And I
Hmm.
think that is great experience and teaches you to appreciate what the sort of support system that you have later, whether it's through a
So
gallery or an agency or, someone like myself. Yeah.
yeah, most definitely. And this is just another aspect of the art world. That people think, people always say, I want to be an artist. And I say, listen, there's a lot of aspects of being involved in the art world that exist that aren't necessarily putting paint to canvas. And I
Hmm.
think you're a great example of that. Your passion for art definitely comes through in an artistic way in what you do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, I went to art school. I think I can really get inside an artist's mind, which is a real asset. But, that's not necessarily where my strengths and my real joy lies necessarily.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm the same way. I used to want to be like I wanted to be an artist, but then there became a day where I realized that I was better suited helping the artist or assisting the
Hmm.
artist in different ways. And it was not saying anything about you, but I was just a bad artist. Like I just had to real and deal with that. So what's going on now? What are you up to right now? Like other than starting your own business? I mean, we in the middle of what's been going down. Once again, my contraption over. Have you been busy? What's been going on during the pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, I was very nervous at first. I was like, what have I done? But I mean, it slowed down for a few months, but basically after June 1st, I would say everything got turned back on and we figured out how to do things safely, appropriate PPE, moving a lot of projects outside, limited capacity. So, yeah, I would say it was a very busy second half of the year. Right now it's tax season, so I'm working on taxes for the artists I work. Awesome projects coming out this summer. I'm
Can we
also
talk
gonna
about some of can
finishing
we
up
talk
my
about some of that stuff?
website and business Instagram.
Can we talk about some of that stuff? You're like, well, I got some stuff coming up this summer. I know you're
No,
working.
I can't
What?
talk about it yet,
Okay.
but yeah. So I work with my sister Ellen Rutt, and
Uh-huh.
then also Brianne White. Those are the
Okay.
two main artists that I'm working with right now.
Yes,
And
yes.
we're trying to do some programming for young adults who are interested in photography, as well as some just outdoor projects. So
Now I
yeah,
find like this time is the time that everybody's being really creative, and actually, even though we're, in this pandemic, a lot of community projects are really popping up. And
hmm,
I always try to explain to people that's where the fuel to keep all this going really comes from. A lot of the times is with the feedback that you get from the community.
yeah.
Um, are you seeing a lot of young talent coming out of these projects? Are they art focused?
Yeah, definitely art focused.
Good.
Definitely so much talent. And so I think like that would be a huge something I would recommend to people who are either interested in making art or interested in what I do is like find someone who's doing something that you want to do and reach out to them. See if they need help. See if they're interested in a quick phone call or consultation. I think like the best way to figure out if you want to do something is to do it. And to learn from someone who's doing it, you get insider information. It's a sort of a low risk way of dipping your toe in. Um, but yeah, we've been connected with so many amazing local young creatives. So yeah.
And you got a chance after leaving Markets to come back and do some work with the ACLU project that just went down.
Yeah. Oh, I love that project. Actually, what's funny is I originally was reached out to White, the artist that I work with, to shoot the murals. And then Ruler reached out to me to help manage the project. And so I was kind of working on the same project from two different angles. And it was super helpful because then, I was communicating with the artists. When I would order the equipment, I was then also able to schedule the photographer. So it really made it this like seamless sort of process. And it felt so, I hadn't worked on a mural in, over a year. And so it was great to be back out working with artists and, coordinating all that stuff.
Did it make you miss the market
Definitely.
and murals and
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Murals and
yeah,
Market
man.
was my favorite time of year for sure. I think it took everything out of me, but it was always worth it.
Yeah, no, people, I really, it's one of those things where I could talk about the energy all day and I could be like, oh, it's amazing. But people don't really wrap their minds around the fact that, during one week in one region, you've coordinated some of the world and the world, not saying the local is different, but the world's best artists,
Yeah.
and they're live here. And I try to explain to people part of the energy is that you're seeing what you love happen, but you can actually talk to your artists.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the great part about it is, we really spend a lot of time and energy on community events and making sure the artists we show the artists the best of Detroit and also that, you know, the people who live here can communicate with these out of town artists. You know, you can just go up while they're painting or find them at the opening exhibition or wherever it might be, and really get to know some of your super fans. So,
Yeah, no, what was if you know, what was your favorite year? I know they're all great, and this has to be a hard question because people always ask me, "Oh, what was your favorite bike ride?" or something like that. I'm like, "Come on, I've done, you know." But was there a year that you just remember? My one of my favorite years was the year that it was. It seems like every year it was hot, but this year it was like ridiculously hot, like 2018 or 2019. It was like 90, and that was for some reason that's the week I had the most fun. I don't know why.
yeah.
I'm sure the artist didn't, but do you have a year that just sticks out for you?
Uh, um, I would say maybe 2018 or 2019, just because I feel like by then I kind of had my sea legs. I had a much bigger role in the festival. Um, and I felt, yeah, I feel like everyone was super positive and really showed up. But I don't know, that's a hard question.
Right, you know
All
what I
great.
mean?
Yeah.
Because I mean, every year changed and added so more, and then
Yeah.
when we went into the music festival, it
Yeah.
became a whole different animal. And listen, I mean, for you, so when that happened, were you like, "Oh no," or were you like, "Yes, yes, let's do this"?
Yeah, I think, I mean, I was probably a little bit of both. I was just like, we're gonna do two festivals at once. But then it was like, okay, I mean, nothing stopped us before, so why should this? But yeah, and Rula really took the lead on the block party. It was sort of like a divide and conquer type of thing, but um, yeah, I mean, why not do it all, you know?
I feel like it was necessary. I mean, they just
Yeah,
fit. And there was always a music aspect that even though there might not have been a block party, but there was always a party and music
yeah,
and so it felt like a natural leap for me.
absolutely.
Yeah, no, so all right, so what's coming up for you in the future? We already talked about, you know, what's going on for you now. What do you have? You know, you can't talk about summer. Um, you know, what do you think the future of art festivals is? I mean, really, in this at this time, that is a question that I honestly get. I'm glad I thought about that. What do you think about the future of art festivals? Are they going to change with everything that's going down in the world these days?
Yeah, I'm sure they'll change in some ways. I mean, I think the beauty of murals is that they happen outside, and usually you're kind of alone up high away from everyone else. So, from a COVID safety standpoint, they're pretty safe. Um, I would love, if anyone's ever willing to throw money at the arts, I'm always willing to support that.
Yeah,
I think that, being conscious of what it means to have public art in a space, and if it's gentrifying that space, if it's adding to the community, if it's involving the community or not, I think those are all really important questions. I don't think that there should just be a pretty picture just to be pretty. I think if you're going to put a massive art staple in a community, they should have some say in it, and it should
yeah.
reflect the values of the people that will look at it every day.
Absolutely, absolutely. Leah, one of my most asked questions is if anyone was thinking about getting into whatever business, I mean, it's hard to say because you're not, once again, you have no specific thing, but if somebody were to want to get into what you're doing, you know, where would they start?
Um,
And what advice would you give them? I think I already asked where would you start, but what advice would you give them?
yeah, I mean, I think I touched on this a little bit. Would just be like, reach out to people, see if they're willing to talk about their journey and how they got here. Um, I think I'm right now. I feel like I'm creating a job that maybe doesn't exist yet. So some of it is just trial and error. Um, another piece of advice that I think is good for all artists is to do your taxes. I know they suck, but it is
That's good
important.
advice for everyone, but
Yeah, I
especially
mean,
artists.
in our post-capitalistic world, we won't have to maybe worry about those, but in the current state, we do. And I think having like clean books and is a huge part. of the art world. You know, you want to make sure that you set yourself up for success, especially when most artists are working, they're freelance, you know, their checks are maybe inconsistent. And there are a lot of very affordable, great CPAs out there who can help you with that. But yeah, I think just reach out to people who are doing things that you admire and see if they need help, see if they're willing to talk. You know, go for a walk, just, you know, do something casual. I think building relationships is a huge part of just navigating the creative sphere.
Yeah, yeah. I love that you talked about, once again, some other gems that you dropped. Getting a CPA and taking care of your books, man. You know, I can tell you, somebody who's trying to buy a house. I wish somebody had reminded me of that when I was a little bit younger. The importance of, you know, the future. You know, you live in the now, but you got to think about the future, and a lot of
Yeah.
people don't put all that into perspective. So that
Hmm.
thank you for dropping that, because for all my young adults that are listening, once again, this is the stuff you don't think is fun. I mean, I think it's actually kind of fun now that I'm
Yeah. I mean, I
involved in
love it, but
it. You know what I mean? Now that I like talk to my accountant and work with my book person and all that jazz, it becomes fun. But it is one of the important parts of keeping it all together.
yeah.
Leah, I don't know how
Yeah.
to I don't know how to thank you enough. I mean, anything you want to say before I let you go? This was awesome. Once again, I between you and the sun coming in right now on Eastern Market, how is there a better way to start a Saturday? You know what I
Not,
mean? Like,
no way. I mean, I would just say, you know, I would encourage people to build the team that they want. Something that I learned from the festival is that nobody does anything alone. Um, so, you know, get yourself someone who can support you. Have a photographer that you can rely on. Of people is really where the magic is at.
yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. It's all about the support unit. Thank you, Leah.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for doing this and hanging out with
Yes.
me and brightening my Saturday. Now I can go on. I can't wait to see you soon on another project. Keep me updated on everything that's going on with you so I can have you on again,
I
and
will.
we can talk about what's going on, hopefully when it's a little warmer and there's some paint flying around us.
Oh, yeah.
All right, everybody. Leah Rutt, everybody. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. There it is, everybody. Man, despite my COVID contraption, that was an amazing, amazing interview. And you got to see me smile for all those people who have been complaining about it. Oh, man. Murals in the Market Live every Saturday, 11 a.m. I am the Jason of all trades on Instagram. You can find me there. Once again, if you missed any of our interviews, you can find them archived on the Murals in the Market Instagram. We go live every Saturday at 11 a.m. If you would like to support any of the artists, you can buy or find out any information at muralsinthemarket.com or onetimesrun.com. And keep your eyes out for what is going on with Leah Rutt, man, because she is one of those people that's involved a little bit in everything. And if you just open your eyes, you'll see her there. Thanks, everybody. Oh, before I go, I forgot to tell you, we do tours of this. Come tour with me. Don't just hang out with me on a Saturday. Why am I yelling in the shop? Sorry, everybody. It's because I'm in this thing and I feel like I'm in my own bubble. Um, Come do a tour. I will impart all of the knowledge that I learned from the artists and more on the tour. So feel free to go to roddetroit.com, the new revamped website, and check out how you can get yourself a tour. And also go to our Ride Detroit YouTube channel, watch and subscribe everything that's going on over there with Ride Detroit Weekly and Murals in the Market Live. All right, everybody, I'm Jason Hall. Thank you for joining me. See you next Saturday.